Okay, so let's get started. You can see we've got 52 people in the audience already. That's great. Thank you all for coming along. I'd like to say hello to Jacobo. How are you doing today, Jacobo?
Hey guys, very well, thank you. Thank you for organizing this, Darren. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Happy to do it. Okay, so let's see. Where any good point you can think of to get started, Jacob? We could give maybe a brief discussion on what's been happening recently, all the exciting things happening between Nami and Nephi and everything.
Sure. So I guess that the excuse me, the update I can give is that we have been fairly busy, and we're still fairly busy working both on Nephi, on Nami as well, and some other projects. Most of our time in this last month since we spoke last was dedicated on doing extra testing around Nephi, putting together, let's say, the initial go-to-market strategy, executing it. We had some, as expected, some issues here and there. We were a few days, or actually 2 weeks, later than what we wanted to deploy. Since we deployed, we have mostly been working on completing some bits and pieces that were not yet finished. Yet at the same time, now we are working on some other bigger features that were promised at the beginning. That, well, it's not a secret. The UX is clearly showing lending and farming. So that's what I would indicate. And as you probably know as well, earlier this week, we announced the liquidity mining incentive programs. Now, in the grand scheme of things, the little liquidity provided by us on the solution is giving an absolutely very, very, very good result. I think it was yesterday. The trading volume was 25% of the total TVL, so it was close to $100,000.
Yeah,
that was of course the byproduct of what we saw had happened in the crypto market. So people saw that although not a lot of volume yet, there were some decent opportunities for arbitrage, and as it was well documented as well as on the discussion in our Telegram group a few days ago, someone saw an opportunity and took it. So what is next for us in terms of Nephi, as indicated, is finishing off all the features that are not yet complete on the UX, but yet visible, and then deploying or completing and deploying as well the lending and the farming. We have an internal ETA for that, which we will not just be sharing yet, again, to manage expectations. But what we like the most about Nephi is the fact that what we have been saying for years in terms of the performance that Nami could give is proving to be right? So being very snappy, very pretty much instant transactions, and also the predictability of the fees, which is something as well, something that we have been talking about for years, that, for example, rollups are not going to be able to offer, right? And I'm sure that more than one person on the audience right now will be wondering, oh yeah, but what about this new EIP that Vitalik has been tweeting about? Well, first of all, it's not new. It has been out for some time. And second, we have to see when that will be implemented. And third, more importantly, even if it is implemented or when it's implemented, it's going to reduce the fees, but it's not going to offer predictable fees, which is a big fucking difference. And even point number 4, whoever has the time to go into the details, then they will see that the only thing they are doing is increasing the height of the ceiling. But if the room is full of crap and the crap keeps on getting in, then it's just a matter of time until that room is fully filled with crap. Meaning that what will happen is that eventually as the base layer gets more congested, then the same product will be reproduced. So again, it is a no solution.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Short term until more people get in and it gets too expensive again. I can imagine. So it's all about predictability, especially for larger scale industry as well as smaller players and individuals.
Yeah, or I would say the other 90% of the planet that is not into crypto that cannot afford $250 or $100 transaction fee, right? Well, I mean, I know that the last 2 minutes we have been talking only about the predictability or the cost of a fee, but that EAP or whatever else they do is never going to fix the latency, the finality, which are another, some other major problems.
Yes, indeed. Right, so hopefully we can see people porting over some of their liquidity over to Nami soon to take advantage of some of those opportunities that we mentioned before. I'd just like to mention to everybody listening, we have the No Mic channel where you can post questions and I can ask them here for you. Or if you'd like to raise your hand here and you can ask yourself directly, that should also work just fine. So if anybody has anything they'd like to touch on. We had a question in the channel the other day, which I'll pull up and put that through. So, what was asked, will Nami create a fundraising platform for new projects built on top of Nami? So,
that's an interesting question. Can you tell me who has that question?
It was HED Head was how it was named in the Discord.
No idea. So of course, I cannot confirm nor deny that we're going to have that. But we're having enough discussions with plenty of teams to port different products, and indeed, that could be a very attractive one.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was quite a nice idea as well myself.
I think it's a superb idea. Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, the only reason why, in case any of the attendees is wondering, the cryptic answer is because we're working on a fair amount of different initiatives, and that is a very attractive one to us. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. So something that I was wondering myself, and again, this might already have been clarified, but I've been meaning to check, is the liquidity incentives that we've posted about, are they gone live as of now, or is that coming very soon?
They will be effective December 1st.
Okay, so this weekend might be a good time for people to look into that if they want to partake. And There probably is quite a strong advantage to getting in there early, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you mentioned in the previous discussion that what is that we're going to be seeing in terms of liquidity mining. Of course, that nobody has got a crystal ball, but we have indicated before that we are we will be bringing some liquidity providers. Also, it is fair to say that for now, slightly over a year, we have had the experience of incentivizing third parties to provide liquidity to different knee pairs, and the data that you can extract from that experience is very positive and is quite satisfactory. So we believe that a combination of those two plus other elements we're working on is most definitely going to be rather successful. That is what we sense. That is our idea. Yeah.
Awesome. I see we've got a couple of people asking questions in the general chat here. So from Frogger, how are rewards paid out, for example, in Nephi ETH pair? Is it once per month? Rewards will hit my wallet on Nami? Yeah, so that last part was a question as well. Will the rewards hit their wallet on Nami? So
I believe we might have mentioned that on the blog post. At first, the first couple of months maybe, it will be a trusted process. By trusted process, we mean the same as we have been doing now for 36 months on Nami. But yes, the outcome would be precisely that you will be getting your liquidity mining rewards on your wallet on Nami. Then as soon as we can, we would like to move to a fully trustless process. hence why the farming on Nephi.
Awesome. That sounds great. And as well, even that the rewards would come in on the Nami side rather than on the ETH side makes a lot of sense. Helps to avoid people having to bridge over further assets. So that's great.
Yeah, and for those who might be thinking, well, that is kind of pointless. Why that way? So we will say that this is back to one of the knights the other day was asking me, should we do X so we can show the world that we eat our own dog food? So we have been eating our own dog food by running 3 years of airdrips on Nami 1. We'll keep on doing that on Nami 2. And furthermore, if that person who might be wondering why are you doing it on Nami considering there's only Nephi, of course our objective is to keep on bringing in and deploying more products on top of Nami. So as time goes by, it will become more obvious for those parties why we're doing it on Nami.
Yeah, awesome. That makes total sense to me as well. I don't think there's a better way to do it. Okay, so we have another question here. Let me just check who that's from. Okay, this is a difficult one. HRJ Anderson. HRJ Anderson. Hopefully I've got that right. When will Boba be in the ring with Nami?
Boba. Well,
yeah.
Boba. Okay, so I suppose that refers to the blog post. No time. We're not gonna cover Boba. We think that Boba is not necessary to be covered. I personally, of course, I cannot speak for the entire team, but I personally don't see them as a relevant competitor or as a relevant layer 2. I know that might have raised some eyebrows around people thinking, well, but suddenly they have $1 billion in TVL, which is fair enough. While most of the crypto world considers TVL as the ultimate metric to determine what might be successful or not, we reserve the right to have a different opinion. So Boba is, let's see how explicit I can be. So Boba is currently run by a Chinese company that acquired the leftovers of Omisego, and as some of you might be aware, Omisego built Plasma. The people behind Plasma are the same people that has built Optimism. And Boba, before became Boba, which has only recently become Boba because of the bull market. So I just see it as purely an opportunistic action. So before Boba became Boba, it was just a shell of what Omisego and Plasma was. Virtually no development team, virtually nothing taking place there. Now what Boba is a hard fork of Optimism. So I know that some people in this call might be wondering, hey Jacobo, how do you have the courage to say that when you are openly admitting that you have forked parts of Optimism? Yes, we have, but it doesn't mean that we are Optimism. We're not a roll-up. We are cool. We have unassembled the Optimism box quite a bit, and we have added our secret sauce. Now Boba is just a copy paste of Optimism, and the only thing Boba is doing in my eyes is purely taking advantage of the current momentum of the bull market by allowing third parties to quickly come and deploy protocols or solutions that offer very high APYs, which ultimately I suppose that's what most people in this call might be interested in. But that is just like a quick shot of heroin for today, and then hunger for tomorrow. We're not interested in that. So I don't think that Boba is going to be that relevant. Maybe in 5 years' time. And why do we think 5 years time? Because 4 years ago we were working already on this, and out of all the competitors that appeared 4 years ago, pretty much none of them are alive today. So we envision the same is going to happen in 4 years time.
Awesome. Yeah, and you mentioned, possibly raising a few eyebrows by saying this, but it's good to raise a few eyebrows, I think, at least from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing is just drop a statement and leave it there, right? So I have tried to be generous with caution on the details provided. So I could argument my statement, and if some people didn't like it, I'm sorry. That is ultimately what we think, and we wish the best to everyone, but to all our competitors. But that's how we think about it.
Cool. No, it makes total sense to me. Okay, so we've got quite a few questions coming in the No Mic channel now. So Max 709, when will Nephi go fully live? When are new pairs allowed to list?
Okay, so you need to ask I'm going to ask a question back. What do you mean by new pairs? Because given all the pairs that you can already bridge to Nami, you should be able to create a few dozen different sort of pairs, even many pairs that are yet created. So, do you mean with new tokens that are not on that list? Is that the question?
I think that's how I'm taking it. Yeah, I think.
So we will be adding more coins that can be deposited onto Nami, and we'll probably be doing that rather soon.
Awesome, fantastic. Okay, so Bucks Beta has asked, when will we know about Nahmii staking for fees?
Good question. I don't have an exact ETA. Part of the work that we're doing these days, and I know until now we have mostly been talking only about Nephi, but most of the work that we're doing these days around Nami, and is also part of the update that I should be giving, is around high availability. That is our main focus, or has been our main focus this quarter. What you are referring to, Books Beta, is more around the full trustlessness of the protocol. We have some news on that coming out, I believe, next week. But I don't have the exact ETA for you yet with regards to staking Nahmii. As soon as we have it, we'll share with you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have another one from Frogger. Are the APY yields I see on appnefi.com/pools, are those yields accurate? For example, it shows 33% APY for Nahmii and ETH pair now, which is quite high.
So, well, that's a good question. The answer is I don't know, but look. So it says 37% right now. I don't know. I cannot do the mathematics right now quickly.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
I should not be able. I mean, I'm not that good at maths.
I don't think many of us are going to be able to do that in the moment.
Either way, thank you for bringing it up. I can pass that on to the team to check it out ASAP. But
cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so Max 709 again. Are any institutional liquidity providers expected to join Nephi?
Not at this time. The reason why is because Okay, so Max, what do you mean by institutions? So let me take that back. Institutions, you mean what exactly? But the answer most likely is still going to be no, because if we would have the same definition, you and I, about institutions, then we would be talking about fully KYC and AML money, and it means that you would also have to be fully KYC and AML to be able to play with those guys. So institutions in the form of Nephi that you know right now, no, that's the answer.
Gotcha. Excuse me. An astronaut has asked, has Nephi code been audited?
So we have been very clear that the smart contracts of Nephi are a fork of Uniswap v2, and Uniswap v2 smart contracts have been not only audited but also battle tested for a few years. So the answer is yes.
Yes, perfect. Sorry, 1 second. People are PMing me some questions and stuff as well. Okay. Okasa, the next question. Have we set a date for releasing the delayed airdrips as of yet?
We don't have the exact date. I can tell you that we have been working on it this week actively. Well, we have been preparing it for a long time, but I believe it's happening any day now.
Fantastic. Okay, so the next question is from Scotty. I hope I'm doing saying these names correctly. Feel free to call me out if I'm not, guys.
No, but keep in mind that they could always go and change their names, right? And call themselves, Bob, Alice, or Carol 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Make it easier, right?
It would indeed. Okay, so do you feel that Nephi could be outshone by other products ported to Nami? How will you keep Nephi as your flagship product? That's quite a good question.
So, first of all, there's a bit of a fallacy there. Nobody has said that is going to be our flagship product forever. We did say that it was the fantastic initial example. Second, we would love to get strong competition by other products, because that is ultimately what pushes the boundaries further and keeps you on your toes. And third, we have a lot more cool stuff coming up. So we're not going to forget about Nephi. We see that the potential of Nephi is absolutely immense. Our job will be allowing any third party to come and compete with us in a fair way, while at the same time push ourselves further as much as possible and keep on building and improving stuff. That is ultimately the game.
Yeah, that sounds great and makes a lot of sense to me too. We have some agreements here where CKGS said Boba is totally a marketing play. So that's not a question, but I thought worth mentioning. So Smuggler, when is Nami active staking mechanisms to be announced? Also, when is the next DApp on Nami to be announced?
So the first question is equivalent to the question from I believe. So has already been answered. The second is the answer to the second question is soon, very soon.
Nice.
But we might have a more interesting announcement before we announce the next product. That's okay.
Perfect. I think it's perfect. Okay, so we have I Clean Toilets 78. What is going on with the Microsoft news of a few years ago?
Well, I Clean Toilets 78. That's a slightly easier name to pronounce.
Yeah.
I hope that you're not in that situation due to the current on the market. And I also clean a lot of toilets in my house.
Important work.
Yeah. So the news with Microsoft, there's no other news other than what has been said, which we still have a partnership in place. Just to in case that you have not heard us mentioning that before, with the Fjord Maritime project, we have been in several, over a dozen plus conversations with them to see how we could make them part of the project. We finally decided that was not what we wanted to do, mainly because it was not a clear upside for us, and would have required a little bit too much of heavy lifting. The solution that we debated, or that they wanted us to implement and we debated over, was a solution called Azure Sphere, which is an IoT device equivalent to, you can think about it as a Raspberry Pi. What they offer is a hardware, software, and cloud solution, and is mostly used to secure installations or secure data transfers from A to B. But that had also an impact on the entire, what we could call TCO of the Fjord Maritime solution. And what we saw is that customers would not be willing to pay an extra $30, $50, or $100 upfront. So that's the reason why we did not do it. But other than that, haven't had a call with them for some time, to be honest. Mainly because we don't have anything to discuss right now. We have been way too busy building Nami 2.0, Nephi, and some of the stuff we're working on.
Yeah, so it might be something for down the line, but right now.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I'm not talking, the average crypto blah 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 blah. I mean, if that is something that we want to do together, we'll do it together. If not, we will not. And I don't need to keep on talking about Microsoft just to create false hopes in third people. I mean, or in anyone. If we want to work and there is a point in working together, we'll do it. If not, we will not do it. It's actually that simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I kind of, from my own personal experience, I appreciate the straight talking. There's enough kind of crypto nonsense talk out and around. So I think a lot of us have had enough of that. So perfect. Okay, where are we? Where's the next one? I can't say I totally understand this question, but I'm going to go with it. I think it's from Lan Nal. What are the next steps for Nami that Laird Jacobus is most excited about? Not limited to Nephi.
So yeah, what you didn't understand is one of the funny names that people likes to call me in the nights. Lord.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that might be what it was, but I'm not here long enough to know the ins and outs. So thank you.
It's fine. So what is that I'm more excited about? Yeah, I will call it. I will say it in one word: ecosystem. That's what I'm more interested in. And an ecosystem can be interpreted in multiple ways, right? Mm-hmm. So it can be organic or inorganic. So growth. So I'm interested, and I'm very, very, very excited about the stuff that we can control and the stuff that we are working on. So ecosystem is definitely what I'm more interested about, and that is where I think we're going to create to make a big splash. That's what I consider. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree. That would also be what I would be most excited about, just the general development of the ecosystem and seeing what comes into play there.
Yeah, but now we need to qualify your statement, right? Because what the community doesn't know is what you know. So that's the reason why you are the ecosystem.
Yeah. And my position of privilege is realized here, yes. Okay, so the next one from Ed Rulig. Again, hopefully I've said that right. So in a blog post some time ago, Jacobo, you promised a new blog post explaining why build a layer 2 on ETH instead of any other chain, or even build a layer 1. So yeah, you were apparently discussing the advantages of building a layer 2 on ETH instead of any other chain, or even building a new layer 1. When will this post come out?
The answer is I don't know.
Yes.
I was just trying to remember all the blog posts we have published, and we might not have published that blog post specifically. Mm-hmm. I believe that we definitely have covered this at length, and it can easily be summarized, right? So first of all, I personally don't believe on ETH killers, Ethereum killers. That is also a subject that has been discussed about and spoken about for 5 years at least, or 4 years at least.
Yes. For sure.
I'm sure that all of you will remember, or at least whoever has been in the space for more than a couple of years will remember EOS, will remember Tron.
Tron is another one.
We'll remember, a few other ones, or IOTA. No, I don't think that IOTA was an Ethereum killer, right? But some of the IOTA fanboys would claim that it was going to eat Ethereum's breakfast. So those guys are nowhere to be seen in these.
Yes.
What is going to happen in 5 years' time? Well, maybe history doesn't repeat, but definitely rhymes, right? So, and the reason why building a layer 2 better than building a layer 1. Okay, so first of all, just to be clear, I don't think it's going to be only one layer 1 going to win it all, right? Or 2 layer 1s, Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think that that there will be multiple layer 1s that will play a role in some way, in some specifics. But we still have to mature the industry dramatically before we can really see which layer one fits in what space, right? Because right now, keep in mind that they're all cannibalizing each other, right? Which takes me back to the previous concept or the previous topic that I was talking about, TVL, right? So we do see that TVL is rather a nomad item that moves from one chain to the other, to the other, to the other, right? Because there is limited amount of money supply right now in crypto. And that money supply will keep on going from one network to the other, try to milk the benefits and the rewards. Now, but back to layer 2s and ETH. So there are, I don't know, hundreds, maybe of billions of dollars, or at least $100 billion plus of sunk costs in Ethereum. Innovation is happening on Ethereum. All the cool stuff and the really good and superb ideas do live on Ethereum. Ethereum has got the most mature development environment, has got the biggest amount of resources and developers. And, it's a place to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so the next question comes in from Bubby Dub. So Nephi is giving awesome user experience, just as a statement, and then questions. So the first one, in the often discussed trilemma between decentralization, speed, security, do you feel Nami had to sacrifice anything, or does Nami solve this Gordian knot? Wow, nice question.
So of course that we sacrifice things the same way as any other layer 2. The difference is that if you would ask this question to the other layer 2s, might not be that clear in the first sentence. Now, what we have sacrificed is right now centralization, which, surprise, surprise, is like any other layer 2. Mainly because whoever thinks that the other layer 2s have fixed the trilemma, then well, that's a fallacy, and that is one big pile of crap.
Yeah.
That is false. Now, with that said, the trilemma might not be as accurate as we would like to think about it. So I don't think that the centralization aspect per se is... So I think that the centralization aspect should be replaced by trustlessness. That's what we think. Okay. So, which takes us back to the question from Bugs Beta, right? So we're still running in pretty trusted mode. Surprise, surprise, like most of the other layer 2s. Mm-hmm. So we're not different either. Again, we say it, the other guys don't say it. With that said, what we have is a clear path towards trustlessness, and that is what we should focus on. So even further, I will say that Vitalik, some months ago, he even started to hint that maybe being centralized wasn't the problem. Maybe the problem is being centralized and not being trustless. So that is the sacrifice we have made based on that trilemma. But that is not a sacrifice. That is the only way to fix scaling. With that said, we want to add full trustlessness.
Yes, yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. As we carry on through time as well, this trilemma might become a 6 or 7 kind of factored problem that we're all trying to solve. So we're all moving in the right direction. So second part of that question. So if Nami has the other layer 2's beat, do you see another layer 1 or layer 0 as having a similar competitive profile as Nami, and thereby a more proper competitor than the other layer 2s? So,
no, I don't. And that is because, not because we think we're so good, not at all. It is because pretty much everybody else in crypto Twitter is fully lobotomized. So they think that the only way to scale is by using a fucking rollup, and we just don't think that. So they're making it very simple for us, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that's the reason why. And by the way, apart from question 1, part 1 and part 2 of the question, I also want to thank you for the first part of the statement, which was that Nephi is offering pretty cool or good or simple nice to use user experience. I appreciate that because that means a lot to us. That is also what we have been working on for some time. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can totally agree with that as well. It is very nice to use. Okay. So again, I clean toilet 78. Also, when are we looking at listing the token on some more
We don't talk
exchange?
about listing, so we're not
Yes,
talking
yes,
about that. That question is not relevant. I'm sorry.
onward we go.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Do. Will you add liquidity in Uniswap for Nephi? That's coming in from Chinwe. Will you add liquidity in Uniswap for Nephi?
You mean me personally?
I'm not sure.
That is not Buddy's business.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not going to answer that.
I wouldn't either. Okay, so are we working on other bridges? That one comes in from Canucosaurus, which is an
Are we working on all the bridges? That's a good question that came up to this week on two different biz dev calls. So we believe the future is multi-chain, which goes back to the previous question about layer 1, layer 2, Ethereum killers. So there's going to be multiple. So the answer is we will absolutely work on that, but that will ultimately be business driven, right? So I mean, as a technologist, I'm a rather pragmatic guy. So now we have spent a long time building Nami 1. Now Nami 2 spent a lot of money. Now we need to take the product to market, which is what we're doing, and we need to start getting that traction that we're after. And with that traction, what we will do is study the data that the traction gives us. And that data, we believe that there is going to be a fair chance that will yield some, or will point in the direction that bridges are needed. And hopefully that data will also tell us which bridges are needed. Ultimately, the most important bridges right now, in my humble opinion, might not be to other networks, but might be to exchanges, because that is a simple way to fix on-ramp and off-ramp problem. But the answer to your question is absolutely. We don't believe that everything is in Ethereum is going to be a multi-chain future, but that decision and the money to be spent on building that bridge has to have a business reason behind it.
Totally agree. Has to make sense. Okay. So another one from Bubadub. Thoughts on winning over the developer community to build on Nami? So again, tying into ecosystem growth, can we elaborate? I mean, other chains like Avax are setting up huge funds to support developers to come over.
I love the question.
Me too. It's a good one.
I love the question. So, back to question number 3 here, when you guys asked me what I was excited. Question number 4. What was I excited about? I did say ecosystem. So yes, there are going to be incentives for sure. With that said, our incentives are going to be multi-leveled, and they're going to come in different shapes, forms, and colors. But one item I really want to touch on what you just said, whip it up, which is about AVAX and offering a lot of money. So I don't particularly know the terms and conditions of AVAX. I would love to read them, so I could answer that one particularly. Unfortunately, I cannot, but I can answer in general terms how most of those so-called rewards work. And quite a bit of those are just pure fallacy, right? So when someone says that they have $300 million to give away for rewards and just to build ecosystem, so you really need to break it down into what it really means. In most cases, that tends to be announced at the height of a bull market, or when their tokens are worth a lot of money. So they might be offering $300 million of their token at a given time. Now, if the market plummets 50%, I can guarantee you that they're not going to increase their offering of the tokens at this amount of money, nor they're going to sell tokens for dollars on the table. So whatever we offer is going to, as I said, is going to be leveled. And if we ever drop a number, it's going to be a highly comprehensive number, so people really knows what that incentive will mean.
Nice.
And it's got to do with the way we do business. We like to be transparent, honest, and we don't like to bullshit.
Absolutely, which is great, and very welcome in this space.
Thank you.
So we've only got a couple of questions left here. So we'll go through those and see maybe there's something else we might want to talk about then. Just for your own reference, Jacobo, we're coming up on 40 minutes here. So really appreciate all the time that you're giving here to the community.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Okay, so from Frogger again, any new marketing plans going forward to bring awareness or liquidity to Nephi ecosystem?
Right. So that is, we go back to the M word, right?
Yes.
And so, I mean, would you like to jump on a voice call and then we can discuss this in a more dynamic way? Would you like to jump here and speak about it?
I can do Frogger to come into the...
Yeah, I mean, if he wishes. Yeah. If he wish, I mean, of course, if he doesn't want to, I would absolutely respect it. It's just that there are a lot of questions I would like to ask back.
Yeah, it's a loaded one. There's a lot in there that, you know, like one person's understanding or how they think about marketing is not the same as another person's, and marketing comes in all these different forms. Oh, Frogger's got their hand up. Great, I'll add you to the stage now, Frogger. Thank you. Oh, hopefully I'm doing this right. Sorry, I appear to be having a little bit of difficulty here.
And by the way, just to be clear, I'm not inviting him just to roast him or him to roast me. It's just that if we have an interacting discussion, we will be able to answer a lot more, peripheral questions around marketing. So it will add a lot more value to the community. And for those who might not be aware, the marketing discussion is something that I find it terribly tiring. So because maybe the perception that most people might have and by most I don't mean you guys. I mean, I'm again generalizing. The perception that most people might have in about marketing in crypto might be really different to what we think marketing is. So now Darren disappeared. So they move to audience. Invite.
Do is continue with the questions. Okay, no, my bad. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll have to continue with the questions. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Apologies. Okay, so a very important one here from Boris. Are you ready to upload Lord Jacobus to the metaverse?
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either, to be honest.
And in fact, if somebody knows what that means, please educate me. Yeah. I am a middle-aged guy who might need some hand-holding. I mean, I have my own, I've got my own idea of what the metaverse is, but I mean, I bet most people don't even know what the metaverse is because, I don't know. I mean, maybe the metaverse is that really funky meme of Zuckerberg presenting Meta. Maybe there's a real metaverse.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. I think it's so vague that everybody can talk about it, but then nobody can really explain it. And Boris just said nobody knows. And if he doesn't know, I don't think anybody knows.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I have some ideas, but or some my own definitions, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not ready to think about it yet, so I'm just going to wait until you all figure it out, and then you can tell me.
Right.
Okay, so just one more here for the moment. When discussing with parties looking to build out the ecosystem, are you finding challenges tackling the whole L2 roll-ups narrative?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
But so again, so there is clearly a campaign on crypto Twitter, which is pro rollups, which, by the way, the last month or 3 weeks has shifted more towards CK, right? There are so first of all, I'm going to be careful here, right? Because I don't want to sound like an angry guy, because I'm not angry, to be honest. But it's just that I know I can come across a little bit aggressive if I start swearing. But the way I see it is that there are for every engineer in this industry, or at least in crypto today, there are at least 7 self-proclaimed researchers. Which, at the end of the day, most of them are keyboard warriors that might have an incentive, or might be massively incentivized to promote those solutions, the same way as many of you here, I guess, will be incentivized to promote Nami. This is how unbiased I am. And then on the other end of the spectrum, then you have the human psychology, right? Which is, we really don't like to spend much time reading about shit that we don't understand. So we will just follow whatever people say. So, yeah, of course that we have gotten some, not pushback, but, we have seen plenty of people being sold to rollups, which is fine until you realize that they don't understand what rollups are. Or they go like, oh, but so you're telling me that I will not know how much a transaction is going to cost my users? No, you will not. Oh, wow. And then, of course, then you have the wonderful propaganda sold by the guys from the layer 2 L2 fees, right? They were selling the other day that a transaction in Optimism is just $0.01, which was only about 350 times more expensive at the time of my tweet. So again, that what we see is just no different than you growing up and liking a football team because you saw in your house that your father, mother, brother, sister, whoever liked the football team, right?
Sure.
So you cannot really question, why do I support this? But at some point in your life, you mature and you stop being a bit, you start
maybe.
Exactly. But now the good news is that we don't see that when we speak with the guys that will bring the next $1 trillion, right, to crypto, which are institutions. Those guys are like, well, rollups, no.
Yeah.
So we have heard that you can get, right? Well, this is pretty groovy. So I hope it didn't sound too negative, by the way, on my answer.
I don't think so. I think it's just being realistic and honest, which is sometimes that might sound harsh or angry, whatever, but
but there's another point. But there's another point as well that we need to clarify here, right? And I'm honest enough to admit it, that in many aspects we also feel vindicated, because yes, now we get we have a bit of visibility, or a lot of visibility, depending on how you say it. But we have been talking about rollups and so forth for 3+ years, and we have been saying no, rollups will never ever offer what we offer, and now some people has gotten a taste of it, and the founders or the guys behind some rollups have gone back to Vitalik, and they have licked their paws and said, "Will you please do something about this?"
yeah.
So, but yet they will not admit that there is, these guys will not admit that there is a solution in the market that you can touch today. So it's not a PowerPoint, right? Or it's not 3 20-year-old kids trying to raise $1 million so they can go for a very long holiday in Bali.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's really fascinating. That's what I would say.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so and we have one here from Taylor Ward, and it's touching on the ecosystem we've talked about. So, Jacobo, what is your vision of the ecosystem between Nami, Nephi, and future projects? What will that look like in the world, if ever? Yeah. So basically, your vision of this ecosystem that we're working towards. How would you like that to look? It's a big question.
Yeah, it is a big question, and I was going to say that it's going to look pretty fucking awesome, but I didn't want to say that. So you see, so what we're cooking right now, and we're giving shape to, is probably one of the most important plays that any ecosystem, or I would say hands down, I think that we're working on what could be the most important ecosystem play that has happened in crypto. And again, this is not just an opinion, right? Because we're basing that on data. And by data, I mean, for example, that, as you might or might not know, I don't know you, I think, but we have been in this space for about 4 years. We have been, for example, running an incentive program for 3 years that is going to last another whooping 7 years. We have also been running another incentive program for a year, which has given phenomenal results. We have now a product on mainnet and other products coming in the future. And we are designing those incentives or that how that ecosystem is going to play nicely together. And that is what I think that is going to be very, very, very good. And I mean really good. And I don't often get excited. I always try to be very ambivalent, even in my answers to the community, and being very measured. But I'm very excited. That's what I will say.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I think people are okay with you saying fucking awesome as well. So that's good. Got a nice response here in the chat. So CryptoZ missed the first half of the call. Not sure if this was asked. Well, just so you know, CryptoZ, we are recording the call and we'll put it up on YouTube. So if you stay tuned here, you'll be able to catch up on anything you missed. And we did touch on institutions. I'll just pose the question anyway. If not, how can has Nami received institutional interest? If not, how can institutions start learning more about Nami to get them to build on Nami? And to add on top of, also just agreeing that roll-ups are getting pushed very hard on Twitter. So yeah, I suppose the main point of that question, how can institutions start to learn more about Nami?
So I'm going to tie this question. So the first part of the question, yes, we have gotten interest. But I'm going to tie the second part of the question, how institutions can know more about Nami. I'm going to tie that up to the marketing question that I realized, because we tried to get that gentleman or lady on the call, weren't able to. Now, so we are spending a fair amount of time marketing-wise as well to pitch to institutions and to get in front of institutions to talk. Then the third part of your question was how can they, be onboarded? So it is important to understand how institutions think, right? So, the startup world in the technology side. Sorry, guys. Thank you. The startup world has become phenomenally successful this last 25 years because the price of technology dropped so much, and the thing we could do with technology was so amazing that an insurgent in little time could come and do something groovy, right? In little time, and then the institutions would follow. So this is going to be kind of the same. So if anyone expects, any large institution to have invented Bitcoin, then no, Bitcoin came out of nowhere. Equally, institutions will not be first movers, will innovate at their own pace. With that said, it is true that both NFTs and more specifically DeFi have gone through a very interesting maturing process these last 2 years. Has gone from a pure experiment to a feasible opportunity and alternative for some products or for some institutions. With that said, another reason for institutions to get moving is ultimately the most important, which is their customers calling and saying, I would like to also do DeFi. How dare you? You need to offer me that, right? So that is fear being pushed by your customers or fear of losing your customers is a really big motivator, really big one. With that said, institutions are good at what they do. It doesn't mean they are good at DeFi, or they're good at blockchain or anything like that. So that requires an obscene amount of handholding. And the question is, what is the ETA for something like that to happen? Well, it really depends. And it depends on several factors. Someone could claim right now that we are in a financial bubble, which is, might be true or not. I don't know. I'm not qualified to answer it. But what we see is that there is a fair amount of institutional money flowing into crypto. And that is not new, right? Has been happening now for nearly a year, at least very actively or publicly. Equally, DeFi has matured, and NFT is maturing quite rapidly. And those high net worth individuals, those large or those hedge funds or pensions or whatnot, or hedge funds, would like to get their hands into DeFi. And they rely on the service providers to get there. And those are the guys that we are, of course, getting interest from. But what is going to be the exact ETA for that? I don't know. But what I can tell you, though, is that you always have several ways to solve this problem. And what we are developing is a very clear, powerful pitch that reduces risks for them and enables them to adopt Nami rather quickly. That is, but again, this is a process. It might take 1 week, and that is just not to manage expectations, just reality. I think it's going to take less than 5 years, though, but it's slightly longer than a week.
Yes, I agree. It is a lot to do there, and as you were saying, there's so many factors that will determine how long something like that takes. Even just like the customers of institutions pushing for it, So
yeah, but what I will say though, or what I will also add to it, is that 3 years ago we were already in discussions with some of these guys, or if not these guys, other institutions. And what we see is a 180-degree difference in the discussions and the maturity of those discussions and their intent. Because as I said before, when your customers are pushing you, you better get off the sofa and moving, because otherwise, if you lose those, you will lose your job, for example, or you will have bigger problems. So the motivation now is very different, which is good. And that will also, by the way, translate into the crypto market, right? How the crypto market is behaving and what possibilities exist.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Okay, so we're coming up on about an hour now, Jacobo, so we might close up soon. There's a couple more questions here that I'll go to, and obviously if there's anything that you would like to discuss before the end of the call, anything that we haven't touched on that you feel might be worth mentioning or going over, I'll just go through the last couple of questions for now.
Sure.
Okay, so Aldog, I'm not sure. If Nami in 1 year time hits every goal you've set, what would that look like? I'm going to jump in ahead and say probably fucking awesome, but I'll leave that to you.
I think okay. So
Yeah.
first of all, I don't think I particularly set any goals that we have set ourselves. I've just indicated things that we're working on and stuff that we would like to happen. But reality is that nobody knows where we're going to be in a year's time. And my job is ultimately focusing on what I can control. And that is why we need to keep on, our heads down and keep on grinding. So, but a year time, I know some people think that in time is a long, long time, mainly because, again, we're all involved in owning a token, and the price goes up and down so often. We all, time goes very fast. But technology moves at a slightly different pace. So, and you cannot accelerate or push adoption. Artificially push adoption, I mean. Adoption will happen when it happens.
Sure. Yeah. you can encourage things in the short term and things like that, but yeah, it takes longer. Totally agree. Okay, we have some comments on crypto Twitter. This from Max709. Any plans for Hubi? Is it starting up again?
What do you mean by Hubi? You mean the content marketplace?
I'm not sure, to be honest, what is meant there.
So the brand Hubi is done. The brand Hubi is not being used anymore. The company has, and now it's called Nami. So Nami is the protocol, Nami is the company.
Yes.
Then in terms of the token swap is something that we're working on. And in terms of the content marketplace, we are not going to assume it now. No. We might, of course, I mean, it is there and it's very close to our hearts. Content is good. Content is important. Content is king. So you never know what's going to happen later. But right now we're not resuming the content marketplace. If that was the
yeah, I think that was more or less what Max was getting at. So hopefully we've got to answer that. And also I just see there, Frogger was appreciating your response to CryptoZ on the market in question, and they were apologizing that they can't actually join the voice chat at the moment. So no worries, Frogger. Appreciate it all the same.
Thank you.
Okay. What do you think, Jacobo? Should we call it there, or should we go through the last few?
I mean, I'm here, so I'm more than happy.
Okay.
So, there are any more questions?
Four more, and then we'll call it a day. Thank you very much again. Okay, so this comes in from Letzler, I think. Not sure if this fits, but will Nami be SEC registered compliant?
So I don't think that SEC per se registered is what you would be talking about. Maybe it would be CFT. I'm not sure. But we don't have any plans right now to be registered that way. No. That's the answer.
Cool. Okay. So Bux beta, when will a cheaper way of bridging to Nami be looked at from ETH and also lessening the withdrawal time? Well, we have spoken on the bridge issue, and that's been in discussion this week. And another mention of Boba, which we've also touched on. Bux Beta will be putting this conversation on YouTube, so we will share it in the channels, and I'd suggest checking back on that as well, because we have touched on those issues.
Yeah, well. in terms of the cheaper way of bridging, we would of course love to have the cheapest possible way to onboard any user, and we're clearly having plenty of discussions around that. We have discussed as well how we could facilitate cheaper onboarding, but many of the ideas that we come up with suggest that, mean that we would need maybe a monitor, something that we definitely don't want. So yeah, just be with us. We are really working on that. It's easier said than done, but hopefully we'll get it done. Hopefully we'll have something. But again, I cannot promise it. Our backlog is pretty packed. Not only backlog, I mean, we have over 20 people working and doing a ton of stuff. And of course, we all think that whatever we want to do is priority zero. And maybe it is one moment of the day, right? But we would love to be able to have solved that problem. And we'll get there, hopefully.
We will get there. Okay. Where are we here? Okay, so Zuby said, I feel this project will lack awareness and Notary will understand or know about this project. How can you convince us that this will not happen?
First of all, I don't need to convince anybody of it.
Yeah.
That's not my job. My job is to do my job. If somebody wants to be convinced of something by me, then they're definitely in the wrong place.
I agree. Awesome. So I'm not sure if we touched on it there about a fiat off ramp. This is from Bubadub again, a fiat off ramp onto layer 2. I know that's
yeah. That fits very much onto the previous comment from Bugs Beta about cheaper bridging. It is one of the alternatives that we're working on.
awesome.
Now, and back to the awareness again. If you want to jump into the call and have that argument, that discussion with me, I will gladly have it with you. Mainly because maybe your perception of awareness is different than mine. So while pretty much every single shitty clone Ponzi scheme can get a shit ton of awareness on crypto Twitter, and you might think that is very visible and very good, that's not what we want. We would like to get more awareness sometimes, absolutely. But the places where we are and the people that we're talking to, there are maybe 5 people in crypto in the entire crypto. So we do have a lot more awareness than what most people might think.
Yes. Okay. And do we have, this is from Astronaut, do we have any plans of making tutorial videos for new people entering the platform?
Yes, absolutely. We will. So we have right now, we have onboarded a guy for a few weeks who is going to be pimping up our technical documentation. And we have onboarded a bunch of new employees last couple as well. Part of the process they're going through is to, again, eating our own dog food by using Nami and deploying contracts and whatnot. That is translated into better, more detailed technical documentation. Then the next step will also be as well tutorials. Yeah, but the answer is 100%, and that is a big part of the question. Many questions ago about the ecosystem. Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great as well, and that's kind of nice content that's easily shareable, and also it's very important for new people who might not be familiar with using different DeFi things and MetaMask and all of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pete Pro 7 was asking, can Jacobo tell us who he's talking to? And I said, Darren, that's me. But he was referring to institutional investors. So
no.
I don't think that's possible. Yeah.
No. I mean, we'll never say anything. No, that could damage us in any way.
Yes. Okay. Maybe that's a good place to call it a day for today. What do you think, Jacobo?
Yeah. I mean, if everybody's happy, I'm happy. So thank you.
Awesome. And we have Max 709 was saying thanks a lot, Jacobo. Keep up the good work. Hope to hear more over new releases. Take care, all. Thank you very much, Max, as well.
Thank you so much, guys. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for all the questions. I hope this was helpful. This is definitely very, very, because we get to know more about the areas that are out of your important that are important to you, and I think that using this platform to communicate is better, and would love you as well to participate on of a voice, not only chatting. I think that would make it even better. So happy to have you, any of you, as well, talking.
Actually, funny as you said that, we've just had a request for someone to speak. So maybe I'll pop them in just before we close up, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I think Harbinger, I believe is the name. Trying to invite them to speak now. Harbinger, you should be able to join the discussion now, I believe. No. Okay, maybe that request seems to be gone. Okay. Well, in that case, thank you everybody for joining. Jacobo, thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed the conversation. For anybody that wants to check it out again, or maybe miss some of it or wants to share it with some friends, we'll be posting it on YouTube in the not too distant future, and we'll be sure to share it here in the Discord channels as well. Some of you may have noticed that we have migrated all of the community discussion from Telegram over to Discord. So obviously, if you're here now, you're already in the Discord, but anybody that you know from the Telegram that might not be here yet, do encourage them to join, and we're going to try and focus everything here. Thanks again, and have a lovely weekend, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you guys. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Jacobo.